What's up, AfterBuzzers? We are so happy to be back.
Yes,
Every single one of us are back after Election Day, and This Is Us came back in full force. We've got a road trip, we got a trip to Vietnam, and a little flash to the past, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Gotta have some Joni Mitchell in there. In California.
I totally forgot we chose
Here
the
in
song.
California.
I was like ready to yeah.
Joni, you're like,
I saw you gearing up over. I'm like,
tone of the show.
What did Rebecca say? It's 75 degrees and always sunny. I swear to God, it's
73.
fall.
73, right.
Oh, sorry, 73.
73.
It's 73 and sunny today, actually.
Well, it's dark right now, but yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Actually, it was like 80.
Was?
Today?
I
was a
wore
beautiful
my
day.
knee-high boots, so we're good. It was a little cool.
Yeah, a
but
little
either
cool.
way, outside of the weather of California, what's up, guys? Thanks so much for joining us. Clearly, we're all in rare form tonight, being
Yes.
back for the first time
Yes.
in a while all together. So we hope you guys had an amazing election day and that you all went out and voted
Yes.
last week. But we are back with This Is Us. My name is Candace Cruz.
My name is Danny Royce.
I'm Lena Nori. I almost forgot my name.
It's one of those days.
One of those nights, guys.
It has been one of those. And guys, this was an amazing episode. It was a little bit slower at first.
I swear to
It
God, if you
was.
start telling them, I will throw napkins at you.
Oh,
We're going to tell them, but just wait a minute.
disclaimer. Lena cried!
Let's give her a couple more tissues. There you go.
You guys, I'm just in a very emotional state, and I did cry today.
You know what? I'd like to start with you, Lena. What was your
Yes.
overall thoughts of the episode?
Oh my God, I have to tell you, I always say this. I like sound like a broken record at this point since season 1. My favorite topic, aside from obviously Veterans Day, just passed yesterday, and it's such an important day. So obviously that's the most important topic, but it was the last part and kind of divulging on the topic of the fact that it's okay for a man to show emotion.
Right.
And I think that's honestly what got to me is that that's something that I've always felt is that men feel this need to not really show emotion or embrace how they're feeling. And so that scene where Jack was in the car and Rebecca was singing, it finally got to me. It's been a long time since I've cried watching this show, and that part got to me because I think it's such a beautiful moment.
Right.
There were a lot of beautiful moments, and I think we'll cover on a lot of them because I think the entire show really underlined that entire thing getting to that point, too. So I loved
did.
it. What about you?
I actually loved it. I loved the show. It moved a little slow, as you said, but going off with what you said, it's like, yeah, it was a beautiful moment. We'll get to that later, but I connected a lot more with this episode than I have in the past. I didn't cry, but it was there. I
What's
felt
wrong
it.
with that?
I felt it.
Nothing wrong with crying.
Nothing wrong with it.
Paris, did you cry?
I didn't cry, but I felt very warm inside.
Warm and tingly.
Warm and fuzzy.
To match the feelings outside in Los Angeles, the weather.
Exactly.
You had the warm
73 and
73 and
sunny.
7.
inside.
Yeah. No, I actually learned a lot about relationships in this episode. I feel like I was kind of like a Rebecca and Kevin, really pushing someone to divulge like
Right.
their information. I'm like, I want to know. You can trust me. Tell me. And really, you should just be patient and let someone open up. But I
Yes.
push it, and I just realized like, don't.
Yeah.
Is that
Don't
all
you and me
females?
both
Why
on
do
the
we
same
do
way.
that? Why are we
Yeah.
not? I apologize before I throw a generalization.
Right.
But a lot of females I know, and me in particular, and we're all three agreeing. Why can't we just sometimes just be patient?
Because we just
Like,
want to
let
love
them-
you. We just
Yes, I
want
wanna
to
be
love
Well,
you.
and then you all want to be loved, that's the biggest thing. That is
yes.
one of the biggest things. And if you're not if we're not communicating to you, if we're not sharing the truth with you, feel like we're not loving you in the way you should be.
Like the
So
four
then you're like, hurry
languages
up, hurry up.
like that book, The Four Languages of Love.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
men love. Is it five
five.
languages?
It is five,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
But we got you. We got you.
We got you. We got you. We
quit.
should figure out later, and I'll figure out what love language we think each of these characters have because that's an interesting.
That's gonna be interesting.
That's
Yeah.
an interesting
Yeah.
test. I know.
Like
mine.
women, we like
I know mine.
the man to look at us and talk, but for men, it's more so gestures. Like I'm not just generalizing this. I watch a lot of those videos that I was telling you guys about before, and they're talking about just how men they like to be fixers. They like to take action, and that's how they show love. But women, we're like, talk to us.
Yeah.
Tell me how you're feeling at this exact moment. But it's just how you mentioned it's not society has never deemed it in the past okay for a guy to open up about how he's feeling.
Right.
Well, I think that goes perfectly into the first element of the show is when they're going on the road trip.
Road trip.
And
Awkward.
the most awkward,
Oh my
sitting in a
God.
car, you drive, will you drive? Will you drive?
Yeah, I'll drive.
Okay.
Just looking.
You look at me and then I'll look at you.
You guys, what if he
Look
was
at
a
smile.
serial killer?
I'm like, that's what I was gonna see.
What if he was a murderer?
In the 70s, and there's no cell phones at this point. You're just in
Right.
a car.
Right.
It was a different
With a
time. They
person.
hitchhiked in the 70s.
Yeah, they hitchhiked. They were so
Peace and love.
Yeah.
But wait, but
left
would
your
you
front
ladies?
doors open?
Would you ladies do that at all? No matter what time it was or whatever, would you
Road
go
trip?
on a road trip like that?
I
3
won't even.
days.
I won't even
3
share an
days.
Uber with somebody. I won't even do Uber ride. Uber
I totally
pool.
would.
I just
I
checked
would
New
get
York with
murdered.
someone.
I would go on a road
like,
trip
no.
after 3 dates. I would get murdered. Yeah. That's me. I think
You
I
were
would
going
be,
through it?
I think I would be
No,
totally
you would
down.
not. In
No, I
this
would.
day and age.
Yeah, actually, I was already contemplating it. Yeah, and you're like,
Hey.
"That's crazy." I was like, "Yeah, that's crazy. Who does that?"
No
I-
judgment.
No, hold on. With the guy you've known less than a week that you just happen to wash dishes with, that's enough for you to get up and go on a trip with
I
them?
went to
I
New
feel like
York.
I have a good read on people. I feel.
She's
I really
looking at
do.
me like,
I trust my
Yeah.
instincts.
Where are you
See?
guys'
Yeah.
parents at? Just kidding.
we're also adults here, and clearly they are adults as well. We found out that Jack was 28 when they went on this road
Right.
trip.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't realize that. So they're our age,
Yeah.
going on a road trip.
God, they are.
Across the country, 2,400 and something miles, with the radio turned off half of the time. Yeah. So,
Right.
what do you talk about? And I loved. Okay,
Dude, I would
so
die.
Can we just get to
Everything.
the? Can we get to the
would
first
just
hotel
die.
room though?
First
The first hotel room, and they walk in, and it's like that awkward first date, but now it's like you're rooming together. It's like when
Right.
you move in with someone for the first
Yeah.
time.
That's
It's
when
like,
you move. Exactly.
do you want to use the restroom first and brush your teeth, or like?
That was-
Hold on.
That was-
That could go two ways. It was like, go brush your teeth so we can make out. See, I thought it was like,
I thought it was like, do you want to use the bathroom?
Yeah.
Do you take longer than I do?
Exactly.
Like,
That's what I
is
thought it was.
I
courtesy
thought it
because the
was
girl
go
goes
brush your teeth so we
first?
can make out. I'm
No,
like,
mine
wow,
was
this
com-
guy's just forward. He's like,
No,
Jack has
is
never
a
been
gentleman.
forward.
Yeah.
Also, when they were at the restaurant too, where she's like, "Oh, that was so cute."
Oh, the dancing and
Yes,
he's like,
can you
take the
like,
hints.
take it away? Yes, 'cause
Take it
I-
away.
I can't even do. I don't know the line. I just like the oh, I can take the hint. I was like, I didn't even take the hint in
Well,
that
she was
moment.
Right.
like saying, "I love making my music, and I love this being like the smallest contribution
Right.
to allowing."
I never
slow
heard it
slow
that way.
dance.
I never heard it that way. That was beautiful.
Yeah,
that
that
was so poetic.
let
right
me
there,
let me
right?
tell you guys something. Okay, and tell me if you guys agree.
Go, Lena, go.
Because I think I was like ranting off about this. Number one, I'm not the kind of girl like I dated somebody that had a similar Jack personality. And I remember always being frustrated because I talk so damn much. And for that person not to talk and you're stuck in a car with them, I remember he would be like, if we were in a car, do you always have to talk? Like, not in a bad way, but like, would you need, no, not like
I know, but
there'd
that's a
have
good
to be
question.
Yeah.
Hey.
some kind of conversation. Because I remember there was times she would just look over and it was like awkwardly quiet. And they've had so many in like the short amount of time they've been dating, so many awkward encounters.
Right.
Where I said
Turkey
if it
sandwiches?
was me, yeah,
Turkey
like
sandwiches.
they're
I
bonding
loved it.
over Jersey Mikes in the 70s. Okay, like did you want it Mike's way or did you want it with just mayo? And so I tell myself, I'm like, maybe this is why I'm single because something. No, I'm being serious, like in an honest way. Like maybe we're used to just it being way too easy
To communicate,
and and
'Cause
to
of
just
this.
We are.
get
Right.
along like so quickly. I was like, wait, maybe I'm wrong because look at their relationship. Obviously, we've seen now. Fast forward, how amazing of a connection they end up having. Like, end up being
Lena,
a
it's TV.
But also,
no, but it's
That's true.
a serious point.
No,
Because
I'm sure there's somewhere, Jack and Beck, there's somewhere people.
Yeah.
people
no,
are
do you
just
know how
like
many girlfriends I have that are like, they go on a date and they're like, oh, it was
Right.
like, it wasn't just like amazing. Like we have these expectations that we're gonna go. He's
Yes.
a lad.
Don't
He's
have
got a magic
expectations.
carpet. He's
Don't
gonna
have.
show
Like
us a
Aladdin.
whole new world. Like,
see, I
You
like
know-
the silences. I think the silences mean so much. If I can actually sit next to someone and be silent and not feel like I have to say something,
Exactly, yeah.
I'm like, damn, we are connecting. You know,
Those silent,
like, wow.
Because we don't always connect with, just verbally. Connect
Well, in
in
an
every
awkward
way.
now.
Okay.
Now I feel weird. But no, I
so
think
basically,
The
they need
silence
to
is
sit
good.
next to
Yeah.
each other going forward. Because you and I like to.
We like to talk a lot.
not all
We
the
see we
time,
balance
but-
each other.
Oh, okay, so we're balanced
Right,
on
exactly.
that.
Balancing right
Oh,
now.
right, true.
We are
That's
No, but
balancing
being
the yin and the
serious,
yang.
don't you feel like people put so much pressure on dating and like feeling that instant connection. Like their connection is weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
It is. Weird.
Again, I do think it was a different time, and I think a lot of like, if you really look at longevity of relationships, people got married very quickly back then. They just knew because there weren't as many distractions.
Yeah.
I think that life just moved slower yet faster at the same time back then versus now. People like have more, not necessarily more ambition, but yes,
Definitely.
like, and
Oh,
especially women having more ambition. It's a very different time frame. Like
Right.
Rebecca was kind of an anomaly in the 70s to be one of those girls that literally left security,
Free
a guy
spirit.
that has tons of money, and leaves him to go get in the car with some random guy to go to Los Angeles and pursue a dream. That didn't happen in the 70s. Now it happens way more
Right,
often.
exactly.
But I think it's more of the point that I'm trying to make is that new age idea that like it's so much easier to just find better, find more, swipe. What is it?
Well, yeah,
Which way you
that's-
swipe?
yeah, exactly.
Like, right
Accessibility.
if you like them.
So like, yeah, I'm
Accessibility.
just exactly accessibility. You can just go anywhere and go on a computer and just swipe or whatever Match.com,
They don't even
whatever
have
it
to be
is.
in the same room as you.
Like you actually
Like-
had to build a
Like, what?
connection back then, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe they had it right and we're the ones that have it wrong. Because they end up having an amazing relationship. Like you take a Jack, you take a Jack.
I mean, I'll take a jack.
I take a Jack.
Yes,
Jack,
I take a
where
Jack
you
as
at?
well.
Yeah,
I'm
and
waiting
That's
for
what I'm
Jack.
saying.
You know, outside of swiping, you can also click subscribe too.
You
That's
can
true.
also click subscribe and hey, AfterBuzz is like a little something for you. Our network
Smooth.
produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to serve our fans like we do. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help us continue to grow. And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't be. They optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. And let us know you did so in the comments and we'll shout you out on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Give us that thumbs up, man. Just because he
5.
did that, because that was amazing.
Thank you.
And shout
Thank you.
out to
Thank
all
you.
of you guys that are so amazing with your commentary
Yes.
every single week,
Every single
after show.
week.
We love you guys. We read what you write. And Keith is not here with us. He has other things he's working on. I know a
Right.
lot of people asked.
I know.
But we love him, and hopefully he'll come visit us in the chat.
You know what? Another comment on that is just I think in a way it was easier to date back then just because now you got so many ways of just because now you don't really know the person anymore. You know what's on social media. You know what they
highlight
show.
reel.
You know what they want to what they want you to see. But I think back then it was just like okay, it was easier to like this is me. You get me as I am. You know.
Yeah, and it was
In
kind
that
of
aspect.
What's interesting too, going off of that, is like Jack is literally just giving exactly what he is. Like he's a shell of a person. He just came out. Like this is what you get.
Right.
This is it.
He's raw.
And like I loved the moment, and we saw a lot of ups and downs with their relationship, like a lot of passion and a lot of fire, and then obviously
True.
you've got like the night terrors. But what I loved that he said in LA when they spent the night, he finally it just took him time, and sometimes those type of big topics take time
Right.
to figure out how to say the right thing and not. And the moment, the inertia of life just has to be in the right lineup before you say anything for that type of thing. And for him to be like, I don't want to bring that into this, he knew that this was something special.
Right.
And he didn't want to cloud all of that.
To make it about him and victimizing
Exactly.
and stuff like that.
And on top of it, like he killed people and people died in front of him. Like that's a weight that you don't want to put on anybody else. You don't even want it on yourself, let alone giving it to
Exactly.
anybody else too. And
And
like
we don't even know what happened with his brother, which I'm sure is
we
a
don't
lot
know
to do
that
with
yet
it.
either.
Yeah.
But
So-
clearly, look how he felt so affected by this guy. What is his name that
Roger?
died?
Oh, squirrel.
Squirrel. Yeah,
Squirrel,
Roger
yeah.
Squirrel.
It was Roger,
yeah.
Roger Squirrel,
Like
yeah.
that's not even his brother, and really, like clearly not his fault. And he felt so like guilty about this. So I can only imagine whatever happened with his brother. I don't even know how he's still alive. I just feel like
How
look
big
how he
of him
took
though
this.
to go back and see his
Yes.
parents and tell them.
Yeah.
It takes
big
a
moment.
lot.
That's a big man right there.
Yes.
That's a
and
big-
the dad of the soldier was just. I'm like, you said the right thing.
Yeah,
But
he
just
did.
like politely walking over.
Right.
That's the
I
moment
mean,
he
how could
probably
you know?
wanted from his
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah.
Terrible
Yeah.
way to die though.
That is, yeah. It's,
Playing football?
Well, yeah,
just like accidentally
just
stepping
accidentally,
on.
right?
Well,
Because they were
yeah.
everywhere. I mean, there was no getting around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, another thing is just like, as a man, you have this vulnerability that you don't want to show, and because vulnerability links to power and having control. So when you don't share certain things, or you don't want to talk about certain things that really make you vulnerable, you hide that because you still retain your power, if that makes sense. You still have control over it. Once you give that control up, that power up, it's like, it's being naked, it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. So a lot of guys, they don't know how to get there, and when they're there, they don't know how to react.
And he barely knows how to trust yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Danny, you're not that type of guy. It seems like you're talking about other guys who like this.
You know
We're
what?
trying to like diagnose him. Wait a second. He's vulnerable.
I've had my transformations because I was the same. I didn't like to talk, didn't like to share my feelings. But unfortunately, I went through a lot of transitional and transformational things that helped me bring it out. So right now, I don't care. I can cry. I'll cry right now if I want to.
Rebecca made him cry.
Yes.
With her voice.
And I like that she didn't say anything about it.
I think that actually made him feel comfortable. That's why I think he finally felt safe. Like, that's why I was saying I don't think, he's like sleeping. He's like, because he's suffering from PTSD and he's having the dreams. And I feel like hearing her voice was like soothing and kind of like felt like home and
like
comfortable. Which is sad because remember he said, "Are we gonna go back to LA?" And she's like, "I'm not sure." I was so sad for him. I was like, "No, he finally loves somebody." Well, I mean, we know she goes back, but you know.
Of course, yeah.
But that meeting, guys, just saying, that's like a.
Because it's
the meeting with Rebecca.
It's so LA though,
It's literally for all of you guys that don't know LA. They did a great job encompassing a lot of the cliches of LA.
The party, the
party in the house. Booked a commercial.
We were all laughing about
We all were like,
I
want that commercial.
I know that can pay my rent for like ever. For a year.
Commercial. But going into that meeting of that, he was trying so hard to be nice. And I feel like most people that have been in LA long enough know what that means.
Yeah.
But I mean, I give respect to Rebecca
for asking all those questions.
Yeah,
asking the questions, right?
Like,
I
was like, go for you because if you drove all the way out here, you might as well get as specific as you can.
What do you have to lose?
Right.
I think he only said it because he felt bad when she said because he was probably calling her out. Where did you come from? She said Pittsburg. He goes, like, you didn't even said sign.
Like, yeah.
He came from Pittsburgh.
But he did have, I give him credit. He has a lot of patience because, a lot of managers and agents be like, right, and then they'll just say, okay, thanks, and then that's it. Get out. Like, don't.
He even heard the whole song to the end. That was great.
Yeah,
right. He did. Yep.
And he smiled. He smiled. But what I loved about Rebecca, out of all of it, is that she came out with a positive attitude, and that's like a huge deal to come out and be like, I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think that was a defense mechanism,
yes,
or you really
100%.
felt?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's nice because once you have a defense mechanism, at least you can kind of find that peace in your head and your mind and your thoughts. But also, I kind of wish she would have been like, you know what? Fine. Let me show you I'm better than Pittsburg good. But that's just me.
Yeah.
But for her, look at what she gained.
Yeah.
You guys, she really has a beautiful voice. Remember for a second, I was like, oh my God, it's Mandy Moore.
Mandy Moore.
Because I'm thinking to myself, God, this actress has such a good voice. Oh, duh. Yeah. Mandy Moore.
You also,
Right.
you guys
like
know the story of how she became famous, right?
No.
It was a UPS man. And a UPS man showed up at her house and saw her, and she was 15, and he was like, "You're beautiful." And then they talked about her singing, and he was like, "Listen, I know a guy in LA. I can send your demo reel." I swear, she's actually said this.
Guy.
And the UPS guy basically made her famous. Is that the record deal went to a record deal? She did a demo, and then ended up like doing her first album at like 15 or 16.
That's it. Forget USPS. I'm only buying UPS.
Make me famous, like you said.
Put me on a TV show hosting so you think you can dance.
There you go.
Yeah, guys, look that up. So,
I don't know why I said that.
Rebecca
very specific.
Rebecca didn't get her Mandy Moore moment, but you know what?
That's okay.
She did get her moment with him crying. I think that's what any artist ever hopes for.
Right.
To make someone vulnerable like
You
that.
guys, and then when she stopped, and then he was kind of like trying to stop crying, and then she kept going.
Yeah.
And then he let it out. And then he really let it out.
And she didn't really look at
no.
him, too.
Yeah.
She looked at him for a second, and she was like, okay, I'm going to give him his space and just, like, look forward and sing. That was so respectful.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, we already touched a little bit on Jack's meeting with the parents, but, like, to see them and their reaction and to know that they needed to give him his time.
Right.
Because they looked like they'd already dealt with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They had come to peace with it. But I think they realized, like, this man needs his, like...
Yeah.
They don't know his story. They don't know that he's
Yeah.
on his cute road trip with this girl. Like, they might think he just really came to just make his peace with them. So that's a lot. You know?
And he never got that from his dad either.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of those things that, like, that's when I started tearing up, is when the man got up and the father and sat down and just said,
Right.
it's not your fault. I was like, no, don't do this to me.
It's good,
I
yeah.
can't. Oh, and then to
Moving
see
on.
them doing the flashback so well throughout the entire episode with
Yeah.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
You guys have to say I was watching that, and I know that as Americans we're so grateful to live in this country and all the people that have served to keep our country safe and to keep the world safe. But it's seeing this perspective, seeing how it affects Jack even coming home, his life, his family, his love, his relationship, his ability to even sleep.
Right.
To hear like a champagne cork pop. I mean, I love
rough.
the fact that they're kind of shining light on this, especially that these episodes are happening, as I said, right after Veterans Day. That I
Right.
think it's important as Americans. I think sometimes we forget that it's the service of these individuals why we live in such an amazing country and why we're always safe.
Because they're giving something of themselves, whether or not that's their life. They are giving their life.
Right.
Whether or not if they come home
Right,
or
not
not.
to come home. Yeah, a piece of their life
And,
is always going
but
to
do
be
they come home? They never come home. Like who
come
they
home
were.
different.
who they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean-
But especially back in that time, in the 70s or in the 60s, I'm sorry, they didn't know how to respond to that. You know, they expect you to come back the same way you left, and when you didn't, they're like, "Okay, what do we do? We don't know
Kinda
anything
did
about
nothing.
PTSD. I can't find you help. I don't know. Just talk to me." You know?
Harris, you were going to say something too.
I was just saying, like, in Vietnam, in that moment where Jack is talking with Bao, who drives him over, and he's like, are you the good guy or bad guy?
Right.
I just kind of thought, in one way, he also is the good guy. He has a family he's protecting. For
Yeah.
the people in Vietnam, he is the good guy. Jack is probably the bad guy.
Right.
And so it's really not just like a clear black and white, good guy, bad guy. It's perspective, and it's obviously hard. We're Team America, so we're not supposed to be saying Vietnam was the good guys, but also for them, we are the bad guys. We're the people blowing them up too. So I don't know. I just also thought about that, seeing Bao with his family and seeing
Right.
how he's the Jack of his family, maybe.
The reason why I was laughing is like, you think he's gonna tell you he's a bad guy? You have a machine gun, and he's not even. I don't even think he has a
Right,
weapon on him.
right. He did-
He's
he
like,
was
you
up-
bad guy, huh? You good guy, you bad guy. I'm like, really,
But
Jack?
he did
But he
sound
said
like
VC.
like sometimes or something like
Yeah,
that.
he said VC. Are you Viet Cong? And he said sometimes. So I was
Because
like,
he was
very.
selling the little cans, but it's
Yeah.
just a can. I mean, I get that the can's
Where
used
it's
for
going,
other.
exactly. He knows what it's being used for, but then he was providing for his family, and so I was feeling that exactly what you're saying.
And sometimes I feel like he probably wanted to disassociate. Like he's doing
Yeah,
it,
you
but
saw
he
his
does
guilt
not
in
want to
his
know what happens
Yeah.
after that.
Right.
I'm doing my job. I have nothing. I don't want to know. I don't want to
Candace,
know.
you good girl?
Good girl, bad girl. Bad
Anyway.
girl.
Anyway.
Someone's talking from no experience.
Anyways, Jack went through the ringer in Vietnam. That poor man. I understand why he does not want to talk
Right.
about it. Because,
Yeah.
like, that alone, being on the back of a bike with this random guy, you don't know if you're going to make it alive. You don't know if he's going to take you to POW, to, like,
Right.
take you, become a prisoner of war.
Yeah.
You don't know anything. You can't communicate with this person. You're just trying to save your brother. Your brother denies you full
Yes.
on.
Dude, speaking
He's
of
like,
the brother, what is up with that relationship? Are they purposely throwing us off on like the awkwardness between those two?
No, I think, to be honest, he had an animosity going into
Right.
the war.
I think so, too.
He wrote the letter saying, like, listen, I need to do this on my own.
Yeah.
And I think as much as Jack, and maybe this is just my idea, you guys can back me up or not, but I feel like because he's the younger brother and he always had to be taken care of by Jack, even when he didn't want to be, because that moment he went downstairs a couple episodes ago and he wanted to stand up to his dad, but yet Jack came down. I feel like there were so many moments in his life that he never got the opportunity to stand up on his own. Jack always was Superman. And the fact that he left the country, came to Vietnam to protect me, and you're not Superman, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
that's a nickname. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
I can do this myself. I
Exactly.
did this on purpose
Yeah.
myself. Like, don't try and rescue
You
Right.
guys, the way he described his brother with the spider story.
Oh,
Here comes, I don't know the proper terminology. Was it
knees
a
or
sergeant,
something?
right? He went to the
Staff
sergeant,
sergeant.
Yeah.
staff sergeant, and said, release him to me. And I respected what he said. He's like, we don't want to send two letters home to the same parents. But the fact that Jack is like about to walk out, turns on and just tells that story, like he just has this amazing ability to connect to people that even with a serious guy that's like, this guy needs to learn his lesson, he's having parties, he's not listening, he's pretty much a POS, and he's explaining the story about the spider, and it like got through to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
spider, you guys. He puts him in a cup and like.
And that
he
moment I was
lets
like,
him
damn,
out,
I'm
like,
like the
make
dad.
sure-
I'm like newspaper. That's I'm the dad. I'm totally not leading him outside.
I've done that
now.
with a roly-poly. I've gotten him and like taken him
Yeah,
out.
I've done- yeah.
And then he rolled into a crack. I'm like, I'm trying to help you here, sir. I don't know what you want to do. Like, you gotta live. You wanna live? I don't know. Anyways.
you want to live? I don't know.
I don't know if you want to. But I'm really, like, I mean, obviously we know by watching the episode that his brother comes to stay with his unit. Lena, you think that he's going to, like, die in this unit?
I think he's going to die, and that's why. I mean, I know this goes into predictions, but that's why Jack feels a sense of responsibility. Is something's going to happen in their camp because obviously there's some kind of an exchange between Jack and the female that we saw in the photo. I think something's going to happen to the brother, and he's going to ultimately feel responsible because if he had not requested for him to come to that exact camp,
oh yes,
he would have been okay, which is exactly what the other sergeant had said is, hey, we don't want two siblings. I mean, granted, Jack ends up going home, but I think that that's where Jack feels this inner turmoil and guilt because it was the wrong place at the wrong time, and if he wasn't there, his brother would still be alive.
Wow.
Yep.
I definitely want to delve more into that in the predictions later on. And we're also still going to do our tissue moments, too.
Tissue moment.
You know what my mom.
You got lots tonight. You got lots tonight.
Okay, speaking of relationships in Vietnam, can we please talk about Kevin?
Yeah.
Yes.
Get into that.
Because this
Yes.
episode, I'm starting to like him more and more. He's becoming more of a normal human being.
Kevin's dope.
Yeah.
He's the type of boyfriend I want.
Yeah, right?
Kevin's turned into the boyfriend that
You
I
guys,
want.
hasn't he come a long way?
He's grown.
He's
grown.
the first one to be like, I'm falling in love with you. What is going on,
Right.
Kevin? Putting the ego aside, putting the woman first.
And that's that transformational stage you're talking about for men. Let's go.
There you go.
Come on.
I feel like you should be like a love coach.
Hey, I do what I can.
I will say this though, if I were to just kind of give my perspective aside from him having come a long way with the addiction and stuff like that, I also think now he's with a woman that kind of he knows she wouldn't put up with that.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, I definally think that.
See, when the man agrees, we're in the He's like,
I'm sorry. I was looking for more words, but I was like, yep.
no, because men hate when women say that about men, but I swear to God, all these dating TED Talks and things that I've seen in the past, they say that a woman has to kind of be the one
Put your foot down.
to put your foot down,
know?
Yeah.
value yourself as a high value woman, and then the
Exactly.
man will value you.
Right.
They compare it to like a toddler. Like a toddler will. Sorry. I apologize.
Deep in.
All right.
No,
All
I apologize.
right.
No, but I'm being serious because Kevin, look at how much he's changed.
But I also think going off of that, and I mean, I'm no relationship expert. I'm learning about it, just saying. But I think from me watching my friends and the relationships that I value, that I respect, that I look up to, that I'm like, I want to have a relationship that emulates what you have, I've noticed that when the right people match, they meet in the middle, and that like the vulnerabilities come out, the strength comes out. You're able to show the best of both and the worst of both. Versus when it's a
Right.
superficial relationship, you're hiding the worst and projecting the best.
Yeah.
And you can see it from the outside looking in. These two people don't match because they're trying to project something that doesn't exist.
Right.
But when you find it, it just goes like this. And I think they finally found it. It's kind of like what I said last season. They didn't match. Something was off. It was like didn't
Right.
work. And then this one just like,
And by no means am I saying that she needs to be a certain way. Like, am I allowed to say bitchy? Whatever, I said it.
sure.
So she's not. She's by no means degrading to him, obnoxious or demanding. You could just tell by the way she carries herself. Like she carries herself as a high value female.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if she doesn't want to talk about something, she's like, hey, I don't want to talk about this. She doesn't get like bullied in. And then when she felt the time was right, she opened up to him. And it's kind of cute how they both said they were falling in love with each other.
Without actually like
saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
It's
was
like
And
good.
she's sitting in a
third
bathtub
person.
and she just puked up bat. Just saying, that's disgusting.
You guys, that's a rodent.
Yeah, the bat. Yeah.
Yes,
That,
it is.
what you said about the image. Yeah, it's like we all go through man or female. You go through things when you're a kid, growing up, and then you constantly add on these layers of
top of that.
of image and something that you want to project to the world. But the universe is like, it doesn't recognize you because you're not yourself. You're not being your true self, and therefore the other person won't recognize you as well. So, like you were saying, it's kind of like a magnet with two negatives. Like they're not going to attract because they're not living in their true self. And so
This is hitting
a
home.
lot of things. And speaking of what is Jazz 41 173, shout out to them. That was a huge bombshell from Zoe when she was talking about her childhood.
Yes.
And that again, that will add on a lot of layers. And oh my God, I can't imagine the trouble that can conjure in any relationship. Just allowing a man to touch you again. That's a huge step.
Did
for
you
her.
guys see the parallel between Kevin and his mom in this episode where
Yeah.
Jack
Yeah.
opens
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
and so does Zoe? And so
It's a lot.
And patience was a theme for both of those.
patience and very early on. Because remember, Kevin kept picking. He's like, "You're gonna tell me about your family. You're gonna tell me about your family. And tell me about your family." I'm like,
Kept picking
"You're
that.
a lot like your mom."
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But
Tell
listen,
me.
Tell me.
Guys, we've been dropping a lot of truth bombs tonight, and I have to say I'm going to have to go back on Spotify and listen to us because I feel like I need to hear these TikToks
Oh my God,
during
but,
my week, which we're also on iTunes, guys. So go to Spotify, go to iTunes, give us all the likes, the comments. The comments are
5
valuable.
stars.
Don't forget YouTube. We're also still on YouTube. you know.
Yes, but your reviews on iTunes and the 5 stars are like prime.
Okay, you guys, officially I'm dying. Okay, I don't know if it's just because it's the holidays and whatever, but Tawny AD3 says, Kevin was so sweet. He said she smells like peaches.
Yeah.
Oh, I
And
know.
she carries snacks in her big purse. You guys,
I
The
want to
fact
smell
that he
like
knows that.
the fact that he paid attention to like
It's a little thing.
Yeah.
just and then he bought her a silk pillow.
Right.
He's trying really hard,
Right.
but he's not trying. Like,
Right.
he's trying, but he's not
He
like
genuinely
Yes.
cares
He's
about
genuinely
her.
trying. Genuinely. Yeah.
Like, what guy remembers that his chick brings snacks in her damn purse?
Unless he's like, what are those snacks?
Like
The airheads.
You looking like a snack, and you got the snacks. So come on, baby.
Look-
No, okay,
looking
sorry,
like a
hold on,
snack.
hold on. He didn't say you smell like peaches. He goes, you normally smell like peaches, right? Now
Right.
you smell like a bunch
Garbage.
of garbage.
Which is great too. The fact that he can say that.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
I'm like, they're bonding.
That's their bonding.
I'm just glad they didn't kiss because that would have just
Right.
irked
Oh.
me.
I know. I
out.
would have been like, no.
I was like,
that-
please don't
that
kiss.
doesn't happen
Please don't
in
kiss.
real life.
Please don't
Yeah.
kiss.
No, no.
Like, go brush your
Eric
teeth,
is
babe.
like-
I just projectile like bat. Let's
Literally
not forget
bat.
it was a bat.
Ugh.
Also, the fact that they found the necklace and poor Kevin just got so disheartened.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, I
Just
found the
everywhere.
Oh.
Medi salad. She was so excited to say that.
She was so excited. 7 minutes. She was so happy.
Yes. She thought she was like, this
She
is
was
great
so proud
marketing.
of
I'm going
us.
to tell them how popular it is.
But look, they are popular.
Right,
That necklace
they're
was made in the
popping.
60s.
Right.
They're still being
going.
made.
Right.
Oh, really? Is that a thing?
Well, I mean,
Over there, I guess.
in that storyline, yes.
Oh. Do you know?
It's like, wait, let me just check on that for you. Like, what the hell?
This is us world.
I get confused. I get
This is
Jack
us
got
universe.
it in the 60s.
Right.
Right.
Kevin
back.
You guys,
saw the new
I
ones.
I really do hope that Zoe ends up like they kind of start divulging more into her past.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
They
I
will.
think they kind of just threw us like such a
this
serious
is
topic on top of
Yeah.
PTSD and all these other things that we're dealing with in this
Sexual
Babies,
episode.
abortion,
Yeah.
adoption, death.
Right.
Come on, this is
But I
us.
need to know about Beth
Sexual
before I
predators.
know about Zoe.
But we also don't know about Miguel either.
That's true.
We got so much to learn.
We have 2 more seasons.
I need to know
Right.
about Zoe though. You can't just throw us something like that and then like not tell us more. And then maybe that'll go into Beth because Zoe moved in with them when she
Yeah.
was 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then it will kind of like start their backstory. But for a
Like
woman
that.
as a woman to open up to go through an experience like that,
Mm-hmm.
not
And to
only
be your
traumatizing
dad.
your father, the person you're supposed to trust more than any single
Right.
person in this entire world,
So what does that does
breaches
a lot.
that level of trust, and then you're telling the guy that you're intimate with.
Ooh.
Wow, dude.
It's a lot.
And it's also interesting that Beth even gave the forewarning that she goes through men like whatever.
Exactly.
And I
And that's the
think
reason why.
That's why.
that's so wise because to fill the void
Mm-hmm.
and to
Right.
get detachment from that, you just, I don't know.
And Kevin's response, a poor guy didn't know what to say. He's like,
Well, what do you
but I
say?"
thought you were strong. She goes, I am strong. When she said that, I got chills. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
She is.
She is strong, I think, but there's also a weakness to every strength. You know, it's like we got to also acknowledge our weaknesses because the other people, you know, they make us stronger. I should
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Make our weaknesses stronger.
Yeah. Right.
There you go.
Thank
But I
you.
think that's a huge step that she told him. Huge
course.
That's
step.
such a huge step.
Because she must trust him enough, especially probably having a lack of trust for men.
Right.
Right.
I think she kept men at like an arm's length, like just an easy
Exactly, yeah.
thing to go through because she
Yes.
didn't want to open up to trust another man to then let that man
Absolutely.
I think that was
That's so terrible.
I like the reason she told him.
Right.
It wasn't to just like give information,
said you love me.
but it was because that she didn't want her dad to hold her back anymore.
Exactly.
That reason was like so real. I like that.
And she got her power
She
back
got her
because
power
of
back,
that.
right.
Because she relinquished the
strongest.
strength that he was holding on to her.
Right.
He still had that power up until that moment.
yeah.
Oh,
Now, how many of us give other people power that hurt us? And we just still
every
going
day.
through the day.
And they don't know
Every
that,
day.
that they
And they
don't
don't-
have a power over you.
That's
No,
why
they
they
don't
say
know. They
forgiveness
could be
is
dead.
not for others, it's for
It's for
yourself.
yourself. Yeah.
Guys, we're speaking truth here tonight on
truth.
This Is Us on AfterBuzz TV, and I kind of want to get into our tissue moments because I
Yes.
want to hear.
So many
'cause-
moments, though. So
'cause
many
Lena, you
deep.
cried.
Man.
Lena,
It was a. I'm not gonna lie. They threw me for a curveball. It was like slow, boom, boom, boom. I'm like,
Right.
Oh gosh, I have to
I was
think.
just so proud of you because I haven't seen you cry in a while.
I just think that's such. I'll start then since we're
Yes.
already started.
How
So I
many?
have like
3?
No, I got like 5 for this.
Wow.
5's our max.
Yeah.
And by the way, for all of you guys that are just tuning in, our tissue moments are rated 1 to 5. 1 being like, oh, it was a heartwarming moment. 5 being like, I'm sobbing hysterically moment. So
Okay, I didn't sob.
That's what I was
It
gonna say. You were
was
right.
okay. We'll
Let's
give
do
it
the 3.
Yeah, we'll do it. Okay, we'll do 3.
Okay.
And the reason why I gave it 3, even though I only shed one single tear,
It was a slow tear
is a slow tear.
down the cheek.
Is because I mentioned this in the start of the episode, and I'll mention it again. I especially have a nephew that I told you guys is 10 years old, and one day he was really sad and emotional, and he said, "No, I can't cry because girls cry. Men aren't supposed to cry." And I looked at him, and I'm not going to say who told him that because it's not my place to say it, but someone that he trusts their opinion told him. Men don't cry. And I looked at him and I said, I'm not going to say what I said because I probably shouldn't have said that either. But the moral of the story is that how sad that this child is having a moment and he wants to express how he feels. But at 10 years old, he's being taught boys don't cry. Boys don't show emotion. Like at such a young age, he's being given such crap and bullshit like ideologies and thoughts. And I can't even think of the word right now, but why is a man not allowed to show emotion? And so that scene, as I said when we opened up, where Jack is crying in the car, and it was just the fact that he was at harmony and felt at home with her voice, and he felt comfortably enough. Like it's almost as if he wanted her to sing. Because remember he said, she's like, I'm done with
Please.
singing today. And the way he even said please, it's like he needed that moment to let go because he trusted her. Speaking of trust, Zoe being able to open up to Kevin as well. And so I just think that was such a profound moment in the show because it speaks so much. Like the volume and the levels that it speaks is so high because I think a lot of people, especially males, individuals, they're forced to keep how they're feeling inside. And that's why so many people have anxiety and depression because if they just let go of that emotion and didn't bottle it up, it wouldn't affect them as much. And so that scene for me got to me because I just know, I'm Middle Eastern. In the Middle Eastern culture, it's really taboo for a man to show feeling, and you're the man, and you're supposed to act like a man. And so that scene got to me specifically because I remember having that moment with my nephew where he was told he's not supposed to cry.
Right.
Weird sound.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
Keep hearing that.
So sorry for you guys that are getting feedback. There was a phone by the mic. Either way, no, I think in that going off of that, Lena, and I know we
still
need to
doing
get
the
our,
sound thing
to our
really
other tissue moments, but I think that's a lot of cultures. That it's just such a taboo thing in general, and I think we're starting to finally kind of unleash that and rip away the layers, but it's a long
Recycle that.
process.
Recycle.
Your turn, Danny.
All right, I'm gonna
Our
do
man on the panel.
2.
Okay.
Oh, 2. All right.
Because that's like a step below yours, right? It was,
Okay.
I got a little fuzzy, a little warm.
Fuzzy.
Got a little something started getting my tear ducts.
Was there some dust up in there?
It hasn't been that long since
I'm just teasing you.
same exact moment.
Yeah.
I have to go just because it spoke it spoke volumes to me. And just growing up, being a man, just constantly just hearing man up. Don't
does that
cry.
mean?
Yeah, what does man up mean? Don't cry. Don't be a sissy. Like that type of stuff. And then so when you hear these things growing up, it's just so damaging. It's so you cut yourself off not only from your family sometimes, but from significant others, women, all this stuff, and it's not doing good for anyone. So let's move away from that. I know we are starting to, but let's continue to push that way, because no one cares. Like, just don't care about how you appear to people.
Yeah.
You know, don't stop worrying about what other people think. Just worry about yourself and sharing your emotions, because that's your true self. And so when Jack did that, when he cried, he just lost in the way he did it.
Yeah.
It's like
that was a
he
hard
lost,
cry.
He lost power. He lost control.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that a lot of men and females too, just lose control. Just take the top off and just step back and just let it be. What's the worst thing that can happen?
Right.
You know, so that moment was, it was a lot.
God, I love this show.
It was a lot.
I don't want to cry again, Paris, go.
I'm gonna recycle tissues.
That was a lot. I needed like a breath of that one.
I know.
Mine are two. I kind of already touched on this moment, but it's Zoe's reasoning for why she shared her information.
Right.
I just feel like the fact that she felt empowered to share her truth is so important. It's so impactful, and I just felt like, man, Kevin broke through to her. Like, in that, I don't know how long this trauma was happening with her father, but I feel like she was holding it in probably her whole life.
Oh, yeah.
And so at this time, at this moment where she's just throwing up, that she feels like she can release it, has to be such like an moment for her. And so I also felt her moment. That's all.
And I think that was the
That was
first
good.
guy she probably told that story to.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like
so,
Kevin
too.
is.
I would assume
Maybe
so,
one
yeah.
of the few people she's
It's like
told
a
that story
burden lifted off her
to.
shoulders. I felt like it was like a happy cry for her, almost like, yes, you release yourself, release these demons
Right.
type of thing. So
And her father's still around and tried to
Yes.
reach her.
Oh,
like, that's just,
no, thank you.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I had all kinds of bad feelings when she said that.
right.
Yeah.
I was like,
disgusting.
Well, guys, not to be a
Forgive.
broken record, I love both of those moments, and I could go on about those, but I'm going to try and find another moment. And mine,
There's lots of moments in
there's
the show.
a lot. There was a lot.
Like the spider
Okay.
moment got me too.
So I'm
not
going
gonna lie.
to do 1, 2, 3.
oh.
And I have 2 moments.
Okay.
One moment was a 1. And that moment was when it's a 1. When Rebecca was at the pool party and she's seeing her friend and she's just describing Jack. And the way that she has this look on her face, I'm like, oh, that's the love.
That's the one.
That's the love. You know, everybody
I
says
just
you
want to
just
go
know when you
everywhere
know.
Yeah.
with him.
When you know, she
Yeah.
knew. Like, she wouldn't drive cross country if she didn't know. Like, she
Right.
knew. And I was just like, oh, I love that. I want that. Oh, it's beautiful.
Or she
I
really
want
wanted to
everybody
go
have
on the
that.
audition and needed someone to drive her.
She needed a chauffeur.
You
so.
free? Okay, let's go.
No.
You're ruining it.
Don't ruin my moment. The other one was a 3 tissue moment.
Uh-oh.
And that was when Jack went and talked to the family. Anything to do with veterans and to
Right.
deal with all of that, like anytime the flag is presented, you could see the flag on
Right.
the mantle, and it just. I'm a military family. My entire family is military, so anything military always like gets me. Like, it's the most terrifying thing, and like. I just remember realizing what it was when I was that young, and it's just the most devastating, and I can only imagine what some of my family members have seen. And my grandfather served in both Korea and Vietnam, and there was a room in the basement. I will never forget this. We were never allowed to go in it. It was locked at all times. And I finally saw it, and it was like basically all of his mementos and everything. And like, I still to this day don't know the stories, and to see a man that's been completely devastated and turned by this war,
Right.
and to take his humanity back from the war by sharing that bit with his parents, I just like lost it.
Because how sad, you guys. They only get a letter.
That's it.
Like when the
At that
the
point,
staff
yeah.
sergeant was saying that, like
that
sending
point,
out
yeah.
a
A
letter.
lot of times they would go to the
They'll
door.
come to the door,
They'll
yeah.
go to the door and give the letter.
Yeah.
So there is
Like a flag.
There's a job. The flag is given at the funeral.
But nonetheless,
Funeral.
I'm
Yeah.
saying like they don't actually hear the story. Even
They
the
don't hear the
person's
story.
delivering
They
the
just have
letter.
someone come and knock on the door, and every person gets the knock on the door. So you know when someone knocks on the door what the news is. It's never the good news at all. So it's just like that moment was like, oh, I can't. But to go off of sad, let's go into happy predictions before we run out of time.
Happy predictions are such a thing.
We can make
Well,
them happy.
Thanksgiving is coming up, so
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Guys, can we have Thanksgiving dinner on the episode next week?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I don't
Yes.
like to cry and choke on my food at the same time because it looks like some shit's gonna happen next week.
It is
Man.
a lot.
Manuel, Miguel.
Yeah, man.
Manuel, Emmanuel.
I already told you guys my prediction, so we can save on mine that his brother ends up passing because
Okay.
of Jack.
Great prediction.
Which I agree with.
Yeah.
Prediction?
I agree
Do you have a
with
prediction?
I think we might finally get into Miguel's story because
Thank
we
God.
saw a little, and I think I don't know anything about Miguel's children.
We didn't
it
even
seems
know
like
he had-
yeah, I didn't even know he had any. So I
Right.
think we'll get into his children, maybe why we don't know so much about them.
That's so true. We've never seen them.
Yeah, at all. I didn't even know until this preview. So
That's true.
Didn't we think the girl that went to prom with Randall was Miguel's daughter? Or was I the only one that
That was you.
Just you.
That was just me.
Just you, because we saw the episode where he went to prom and he met
No,
with
not
someone.
now, but like I remember in season 1, we weren't sure when we saw the redhead with Randall because they had flashes. I always thought it was Miguel's daughter.
Oh, wow.
Nope, not at all.
No.
especially redhead.
Maybe she
No.
colored it. People had
Anyways, Danny.
Maybe.
Prediction?
Yeah, I think that same thing with Jack's brother. I've definitely. I think he's gonna die somehow, and he is gonna have some type of love relation with that Vietnamese girl.
I
just
called
took
that,
mine.
by
Right.
the way, and
I don't know if they're
everybody
gonna have a
was
baby
like,
though. I don't know. That might be pushing it a little too much.
Because God forbid Jack has loved someone before Rebecca. Oh my God.
Right. I think definitely they had a little
What if
connection.
there's a love child?
I think we're gonna see a little bit more of Kate, in the next
the
episode.
baby.
Yeah,
The baby.
and we're gonna do a little bit of that, and then also just gonna learn more about. I'm sorry, I'm joking on her name, Zoe.
Oh, Zoe.
Zoe. Yes, we're gonna start unraveling her story.
Speaking of the Vietnamese lady, I think she was there to spy. That's why she was creeping through the thing, and then she's in love with the enemy.
Yeah, I think she fell in love with
Maybe.
him. Yeah.
Ooh,
Enemy lines.
I
was the
like
name of the
that.
movie?
I like the behind enemy lines.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good
And
one.
then maybe her family kills her for falling in love with Jack.
Oh, okay.
that's-
Dude, written the whole
See,
new-
I was with her
I
until
watch
then.
I
Send-
watch too
send the
many soap
screenplay,
operas.
right.
People die, they come back to life.
I just don't know.
Candace,
I
what
just
you
know.
got for
I don't
us?
know.
I
don't
swear
know.
to God, watch me be right
I
though.
think-
I will die if I'm right.
I predict
Okay.
there's going to be Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
I think I got that one right. I do think that Jack has a love child. For some odd reason, I do think that there is a love child out there. And I think we're going to see a lot more of Randall and Beth's relationship because from what it looked like in the previews, they were doing Thanksgiving during his campaign.
Right.
So I think that there's going to be a lot more of that. And I'm interested to see the other characters that have just been introduced with this campaign trail, everything like that. So I'm excited for next week.
Yes,
I'm excited
me
for
too.
Thanksgiving week. And guys, just not to get too heavy, but I do want to say this because it is affecting all of us nearby. Please keep your thoughts and prayers with all those that are in Thousand Oaks and are in Malibu and Ventura County. It's really hitting home for a lot of us.
Yes, it is.
And especially watching today's episode. So I just wanted to throw that in there because they did do the shot of Malibu and everything in this
know,
episode.
so sad.
Yeah.
So for all of you guys that are in California, there are plenty of places that you can go donate blood. You can donate different materials and anything. You can volunteer.
You can
help
text
in-
Red Cross 9099
Yes.
and Red Cross cap locks. Don't ask why I have that memorized. I've been preaching that to everybody.
Yeah, do
It'll
so.
donate $10.
And then,
Yeah.
we don't want to forget all those that were lost in the shooting as well. That happened literally the day before the fires
before.
happened. So for all of those people that are going through all of this, our hearts go out to you guys. And thank you all so much for always tuning in every single week for This Is Us. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.